Hey! Good to see you all. You hear that? So let me tell you something. When we're in the woods, we're all ignorant souls. And I mean that from my heart. It's not just some stupid fucking quote or something. When we're in the woods, it's humbling. It puts everything in perspective. I have been coming to the Pacific Northwest forests since I was a kid. My father was a very avid hiker, outdoorsman. Didn't really do a lot of outdoor activities, but he did do a lot of hiking. Hey, buddy. Gino's back. Come here, buddy. Come here. Come say hi. Come here. Come here. Come say hi. Come say hi. Yeah, he doesn't want to. Pardon me for that. It's the environment out here is just so much different than we're often used to. And you know, now this is where I say I know that there's a lot of you out there that don't ever get to experience the woods, because I talk to some folks who are from like parts of, you know, Arizona or New Mexico or Utah or even California, where there's no real rainforests. There's no real forests like this in Cali unless you're in Northern Cali. And the Sierra Nevadas are pretty beautiful, I believe. I've never been there, but from the pictures I've seen and what I've heard, it's not quite the same as a moist Pacific Northwest rainforest. You can come out to Portland in the middle of the summer, and it'll be nice and sunny, and then you can drive up to the rainforest or go up to the Hoh rainforest, and it'll be raining, dripping rain the entire time you're there, no matter when you go. It rains there more than any place up here in the rest of the year. Portland is in the Willamette Valley, and it has mountain ranges on both sides. You have the coastal range, and then you have the Cascade Range, and the valley sits between the two, heading down south. And that's why when you hear the Willamette Valley, that goes all the way down to Eugene and south of there. That's where it kind of starts to taper out. And but the valley up here is tight, and the weather systems are very, you know, they're pretty mild, you know, in the valley. But as soon as you get up to the mountains, everything changes. And so anyway, coming up to a place like this, so awesome. See, this is the kind of shit I love. Look at this moss. I did not pick it, it was just chilling there on the ground like this. You know, people don't realize how much of, how awesome moss is. I mean, the different forms. You know, there was a time when people thought that everything lived in competition, that nature was at odds with itself. And, you know, those of us who have done a little bit of delving into this subject know that that is just redonkulous. There is no way in hell that this is, you know, cutthroat or dog-eat-dog world. These two different types of moss are living in tandem with each other, and they're probably feeding off of each other's waste and nutrients that they don't need. A decaying log on the floor, when I was a kid, I would never think picking up a rotting log for firewood would be a bad thing. You know, I figured I'm helping the forest. No, I'm just getting rid of the dead wood, you know. That's ignorance of a kid, you know. You get older and you realize, oh, this decays, it provides nutrients, and you understand the cycle. Too many kids today don't get to see the cycle at all. Say hi, Gino. Whew. What is it, buddy? Hey, boy. I love that dog. So many people today don't get to see the cycle at all. They are so stuck on their day-to-day actions and you know, the bullshit that we've all been fed. And it's not their fault. It's not your fault. It's not my fault. some of the wisest men in history have done some of the most ignorant things. So no amount of knowledge can bring you closer to nature. And that's kind of what I wanted to kind of say here. That some things have to be experienced to be understood. I once heard a man say that you could spend your entire life reading books about Egypt, but traveling there for 1 week, you would learn more than you'd learn in a lifetime of reading about it. And that's true. That's true with everywhere. You know, you can sit and tell people about things, but as far as places, nature has its own lessons. You know, you get out here and you're in a different world. You know, you realize that if you break your leg, it's going to be a long way to get to the hospital. You realize that you have to make sure you have what you need to be self-sufficient when you get here, because there's no 7-Elevens. And then once you do get here, and you hope that you're warm enough, and you hope that you got enough food, and everything's fine, then you get taught some serious lessons by nature. And it's not something that comes as a bad lesson, and it's definitely not something that's devastating. It's little things, okay? And maybe we'll just walk around and I'll show you what I mean. It sounds cheesy, I know, but some of these things I've talked to people and they say, I never considered that. And I'm just like, man, really? I mean, this is the log that I'm sitting on right now. You know, as we know, decomposing log is going to be part of the system now. This log will provide homes for insects so they can break it down, and various nutrients will be exchanged and shifted around until eventually it's been taken up into the rest of the trees. Now look at this cedar tree right here. That's a big ass cedar tree. Now a few years back, I was under the impression that trees were at odds with each other. I should say that they competed for space, because why? That's what we were told. And I figured, well, that makes sense. There's only a limited amount of space in the woods. People compete, animals compete. Why wouldn't trees compete? Then they did a study where they took a radioactive gas and they put it around the branch of a tree in a plastic bag and tied it. And they followed the radioactive gas all the way back up the branch, down the trunk of the tree, and they were able to trace it back through the soil and up into the baby trees, and found that the baby trees had more of the radiation. What the tree was doing is pushing its nutrients out for the babies. So when people tell you that, you know, a tree grows too close to another one will be shed out because it gets no light, it doesn't matter. It gets enough light to process its sugars, and it's not being robbed of its nutrients because they're being shared by the mother plant. The question is whether interspecies will share. Say, would an oak tree shelter a, hey buddy, what's up? What do you see? Would an oak tree shelter a cedar tree, you know? What is it? He's having a blast. Good boy. So on top of this thing, you know, we have this little tree growing. Just a little baby tree of some sort. And I'm thinking it's one of these, and the next time I come back here, it'll probably be significantly larger. And I look at it as like a canvas, an ever-changing canvas. That's the best way I can think to describe it. Like every time I go back to a spot I haven't been to, it's going to be different. But it's going to be beautiful in its own way. Look at the size of this stump. I mean, this definitely was a cedar. Back in the day, people could cut the hell out of this stuff, you know? That's just how it was. It was not a big deal to cut down trees. It still isn't, as long as it's done properly. So what we have is, that appears to be a fir tree, so maybe that was a fir as well. But they take over wherever they can. And I don't look at it like a battle out here at all, you know? Even the rocks have a consciousness to me, and I when I used to hear people say stuff like that, I'd think, yeah, that makes sense, but why would you think that rocks really have anything whatsoever? Well, they don't have a consciousness per se. They have an energy level. they have a vibration, a frequency, like we all do. That goes for every leaf, every ice crystal, everything. Sunrise in the mountains is a beautiful thing. And look, it's a wolf. Roof, roof, roof. Come on, Gino. That's about all I got on that. Nature. Beautiful thing. Namaste.